As you begin to find your alignment on the lower half of the body, where the hips are back over the heels, the pelvis is neutral, the ribs drop, what you might start to discover is how far forward your head falls in front of your body. And this is one of the reasons of the curvature of our upper spine, or the hyperkyphosis of our upper spine, is one of the reasons that we lose the neutral alignment in other parts of our body. So if my head is falling forward in front of the rest of my body, one way to be able to look forward while I'm walking is to actually thrust the hips forward. So now I can bring my head more upright. Or what people might do is lift the chest up, and now my head is looking forward. But that hasn't actually changed any of the relationship of the tightness in the muscles of the neck, or it hasn't actually changed the curvature in the upper spine. And so those are a couple compensation patterns. One other one is when my hips are back, my ribs are down, instead of getting my head back in line with the rest of the torso, you might find that people just tilt the head backwards in order to look forward. But that's still putting a lot of weight in front of the body and is going to lead to more hyperkyphosis over time. And so to adjust for that, let's introduce head ramping. So head ramping is to be contrasted with tilting the head backwards, which is compressing the back of the neck. And what we want to think about is making the back of your neck really long. And so one way to do it is just to take a couple fingers on your chin and think about your chin as sliding backwards towards the throat. And this is a little bit of an exercise because you can feel where a stretch starts to happen in your neck and where you're going to need to use some musculature to make this happen. So you can gently nudge your chin back. You shouldn't be forcing it. It's just how can you slide it back? And it might not go all the way back over your shoulders at first. So that's a gradual progression, just like turning your feet to point straight forward is a gradual progression. Another marker or another detail to pay attention to when you do this is as you hit some tension through the neck, it's going to be really common to lift those ribs up in order to achieve the head over the shoulders. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the ribs down, and it's nice to put one hand on the ribs, maybe even one hand on your sternum, and as you use the muscles of your neck to slide your head back and up, you want to make sure the chest and ribs don't lift with it, but they stay down, and that way you're actually getting longer through the neck here. So while you walk, it's something that's really easy to play with whenever you're walking around, is you can do a little check-in, like neutral pelvis, neutral ribs, and if you find yourself with your head leaning forward or tilting backwards, ramp the head so it's going backwards and upwards, keeping your chin relatively down so it doesn't lift up to the ceiling or sky. And just check in with that once in a while as you walk.